So I recorded that I was talking, but I had my headset on, so it didn't record my voice. But I remember that movie. I mean, I was watching that movie and I can't rewind it because it's live on TV. So, it's Godfather. And there's some part in it at a school. And I recognize that building. It, it's Westview Elementary. Because I remember, I mean, I remember I used to go there a lot. They had a rec center there in the back where my classroom was, the the junior high. I was in third, no, fourth, fifth, sixth. But I went to school there ever since, like, I believe third grade. So I went up third, fourth, fifth, sixth, and then I studied there in junior high. Um, so I remember there was a teacher there. She would bully me in fourth, fifth, and sixth grade. Um, but while I was studying there, I was in special ed, and Mrs. Siri, she was the special ed teacher. She was the one who taught me how to make pickle. Um, she was they had two sons. She was a beautiful lady, sweetest lady. She was married to a firefighter. He was like a big deal firefighter in Pacifica. So, anyway, the special ed teacher, she taught me the alphabet, and she taught me the numbers, and she taught me how to read, and she taught me how to pronounce the vowel properly, and and also there was a PE teacher, Mrs. Mrs. Siri and Mrs. She was just a PE teacher. I never knew her name. She was just a PE teacher. She was crippled, but she knew, like, she was crippled, like couldn't walk right or whatever. And but she knew how, like, she taught me physical ed. Not only exercise stuff, she like taught us like the muscle and the body and stuff like that. Um, and Mr. Green was the principal. He was tall, black, jerk, motherfucker. He would work with the with my teacher, the fifth and sixth grade teacher. Her name, I don't remember her name. She was a fat bitch. And anyway, let me focus on the story, on what I wanted to. I'll talk shit after I share this. So I remember NASA. She also taught English. She also taught history. She taught everything. She taught math, history, and math, history, and language art. So this lady, she was not from America. She was from. She had like. She speak English pretty well, but she had an accent. A broken, so she speak broken English, like an accent and stuff. So she would always bully me and shit, and she would make me sit next to her fucking desk, and I would like want to pull my eyeball out. Like pull my hair out, because she always had me sit next to her and shit. And I had like perfect eyesight. And then I was in her class, and then I started having double vision. So But I did get correction glasses. My frame was red. Anyway, she would bully me all the time, and she would fucking fail me all the time, and she would put me in outside the hallway to just go there and do my work, because she would say that I'm slow or everybody's done with their tests, and here I am still working on my tests. And remind you, I was on special ed, so their excuses, because you're on special ed, you're gonna go sit in the hallway or whatever. We also had like spelling bee there too. And I was smart. I would be like the 6th or the 5th students still be standing up with the spelling bee. And then I would probably be the 5th or the 6th would not pass the spelling. So I would, okay, you're out, you're done. So there'll be like 5 or 4 left. And then, so let's go back to NASA. So I remember, because it was a big American history, and we were watching the spaceship NASA taking off for the second time to the moon. And then so it was like a big deal, American history, and Ronald Reagan was the president at that time. And I remember we were all watching the film, watching TV, the TV screen. And I remember we're all watching it, and there were like 12 people, and one of them were a couple. One of them was a teacher, and the husband was a NASA guy, worked for the NASA. And then they had 2 children. I don't know if it was a boy and a girl, but I'm assuming it was a boy and a girl. They had 2 students that was down here, was on Earth. So anyhow, the spaceship, it was on, like it was fired up. While it was firing up, they were all lining up to get in they all had to get ready, get geared up, and they all went into the spaceship, and everything was video, inside, outside, everywhere. And then they were all buckled up, and they all thumbs up, and then the spaceship took off. About 5 minutes, and went up in 5 minutes, and went really fast, but it was still on Earth. It was still on Earth, but still seeable. And it exploded. So it wasn't all the way to where what do you call that? If you go all the way up to is it air zone, or the zone where there's no gravity, then you have this, they have gear with gravity. So they went all the way up, but there was still gravity, and it exploded. So, but they studied this for a very long time, and they built for a very long time. So they claimed they all died, but there was no witness. There was no body, no bone, no nothing, no anything that would, but it's supposed to be. There's supposed to be like part of the spaceship, or the human body, or the bones supposed to be found on the in the ocean, because it took off in the ocean side. So I'm assuming now Russia. I remember the teacher now. She was from Russia. Yeah, she was from Russia. And she used to bully the fuck out of me and shit. And she was from Russia. Anyhow, so it explodes. So my question is, because it was still on Earth, and they already had all gear and stuff, did all those 12 people that worked for NASA, were they all spies? Did they steal our recipe or ingredients for war? Could be. Because why would they treat me the way they did? And also, I had this good guy friend. I had a crush on him because he was a fucking, he was a mean asshole, but he was nice. But his name was Eugene, tall kid, black, like light tan, and he had a sister named Lakeisha. Why am I sharing this? Just listen. Lakeisha, she was a fucking bitch. She was hella ugly, tall, ugly, fucking African girl. She was black. African girl. She was a black girl. Her and her brother. They were always the brother was always in trouble, and the sister Lakeisha was always bullying, like wanna fight. So she would bully me all the time. And then one day I was like, fuck, tired of this fucking bitch bullying me. So we fought. We fought and I kicked her ass. And she never bullied me again. But I never saw her again. Her and her sister. I mean, her and the brother. They just disappeared. So I was like, where's that kid at? Where's Eugene at? I don't see Eugene. And I don't see that Lakeisha. And then I started noticing new people was coming in. I started noticing other people like the Filipino and the Filipino girls and Samoan girls and Tongan kids, Hafkasi. They showed up. But I never got along with them. They were mean to me. And there was this kid. His name is what's his fucking name? I remember there was a guy named Ronald, and I also remember there was a guy named Julius. He was a fart face. But we grew up and we were cool, but I don't know what happened. He got involved with a girl from San Jose. She was a cholo. Anyway, but they did go to school, so I'm wondering if they're still alive and they see my social media video, if they remember me, because I still remember them. We would walk through the alley to go to school, Westview Elementary. We would walk through the alley and there would be like blackberry, I think, or raspberry. And we were like, I would pick them and eat them. And they would just stand. Was it Julius? Julius would just be over there, just being a fucking dork kid. I'm like, hey, making fun of me. But there was a Tongan house right there in the alley. They were Mormon, the Mapa family. They were up to no good. Anyhow, I think they were involved in setting up my dad and me. And also that video, Godfather, there's vaguely memory of an old man that was in bed. I truly believe that was my grandfather, Ma Noa Daimani. That's my grandfather, and there was a baby. He was dying from cancer, and there was a baby. That was my baby Lini, Doreen, Nancy, Yermia. That was his first granddaughter I gave birth to. Yeah. And a hell of shit happened. Okay, so that's my story about NASA explosion. Like, now, like, you go back to history and see what they were talking bullshit about it. I think Russia were spies, and they had some Russian people in that spaceship. And so I don't know whatever happened to the two kids that were here on Earth, were still here on Earth, while those 12 people took off to NASA and then it exploded. They said it was diminished. There was nothing, not even a black box. Everything was burned, but that's some bullshit. Because it was still on Earth. It haven't hit